I'd like to first start with a quote from Ron Paul regarding homeschooling. My commitment is to ensure that homeschooling remains a practical alternative for American families. As president, I will advance tax credits through the Family Education Freedom Act, which reduces taxes to make it easier for parents to homeschool by allowing them to devote more of their funds to their children's education. I am advancing equal scholarship consideration for students entering college from a homeschool environment. The source of this is from the campaign's website, and it was issued on September 1st of this year. So I'd like to go to a video now of Ron Paul speaking about homeschooling in New Hampshire. It was taped on October 17th of this year, and I think it will let you know a little bit about why Ron Paul thinks that homeschooling is important to keep as an option for parents, considering the state of our education system in this country. So I hope you enjoy this.
Pro-homeschooling, pro-faith-based initiatives. The author in Washington, his, well, I guess, kind of cut to the chase. I just want to introduce the next President of the United States, your friend and mine, Dr. Ron Paul.
In the district, in order to, present the case for the Constitution and limited government, it has been challenging. And one of the key group of people that have worked for me for so long over these many years have been the homeschoolers. They seem to understand the Constitution. I wonder why that is. Homeschoolers seem to understand the Constitution compared to those who have gone to public schools. So I'm highly critical of the public school system. I praise homeschoolers, but I have to admit I went through the public school system, and so did my children. But I always thought it was a struggle to relearn or get rid of those things that were put into my brain that I thought turned out to be incorrect. So in economic policy or the understanding of the Constitution. So that is why, I have a lot of optimism, and one of them has to do with the homeschoolers. And all I have to do is look around and see if there's a contest, a spelling bee or some other geography, and I'll say, oh, those homeschoolers are doing pretty good. I guess they're getting a pretty good education. And since I got to know so many homeschoolers in my district, one thing that I have learned that has been wholeheartedly refuted, they always say about people that homeschool their kids, the children will be withdrawn and not be personally sociable. And all I know is that first thing is when I would campaign, the homeschoolers, actually, they were allowed out of school to come to an event, such as a politician being in town. And lo and behold, I knew if it was a rally or something and somebody 8, 10, 12, or 14 stood up and asked a question, a very intelligent question, I didn't have to ask where they were getting their education. So the poise that they have and all, it's just been remarkable. But, it is reassuring to know this. And it's reassuring to know that we still have this freedom and this responsibility to our children, but we can't even take that for granted, because in the 1980s in Texas, homeschooling was severely challenged, and I believe the challenge will return if we are not careful. But today we are still fortunate. We can homeschool our kids, and we can have private schools. I would try to help them more, financially, not by grants, obviously, and not even but what I would do is allow tax credits so people can get some of their own tax money back and not send it to the government if there are expenses involved, whether they're homeschooled or whether they are in private schools or whether they're extra tutoring, just so that we can get some of that money back in where the responsibility and the determination for education is by the parent. But
I think that video shows that Ron Paul is a strong proponent for homeschooling and has consistently voted to remove government jurisdiction from public schools, knowing that control should be put back into the hands of the parents. Now, I would like to read one of our country's most, I guess, remembered quotes. I think everybody hears this at some point, and I think it really sticks in our minds. I know it stuck in my mind because when I saw it, I was kind of said to myself, I remember that quote, and I think there's a good reason why. It is from March 23rd, 1775, and it is a quote from Patrick Henry. Now, I don't know if I'm going to read it with the same gusto or, I guess, livelihood that he said it during his day, but I'll give it my best. Here we go. Is life so dear, or peace so sweet, as to be purchased at the price of chains and slavery? Forbid it, Almighty God. I know not what course others may take, but as for me, give me liberty or give me death. Now, obviously that quote is a little melodramatic, but I think that it also speaks to an ideal that we need to ensure that we have we need to ensure that our civil liberties are protected, and that our president is going to ensure that our civil liberties are protected so that we can feel confident in our democracy